think we can get it started. This presentation may contain forward-looking statement that reflects the current beliefs of ServiceNow and are based on current information available. These forward-looking statements should not be relied upon in making purchasing decisions. This was our standard opening note. Of course, this is part of the live on ServiceNow interactive event series. So if you want to know more, you have a QR code to scan here on the right part of the screen. If you want to scan it now, you will get access to all scattered events starting today onwards. You're still hearing music. Let me switch it off. There you go. Thank you for. So if you have questions, let's put them in the chat before we jump into the webinar. Here's the housekeeping rule. We've saved some time for Q&A. Please use the Q&A button instead of the chat to submit question. It will be very difficult for us to keep track of both the chat and the Q&A, so we'll focus primarily on the Q&A. I will read your question and we'll find someone who can answer that. The presentation will be recorded and shared following the event. And finally, after the event, you will be prompted to fill out the short surveys. I already thank you in advance for your feedback. This is very important for us. Have fun. Please take the survey and enjoy. Let's get it started now. So my name is Nicola Bussoni. I am based in Italy. I'm the AI Delivery Excellence leader within our Customer Excellence group in EMEA. Together with me, have super capable colleagues, Dan Belostowski, Luis Estefano Gax-Jatley. All of them are principal AI architects within our practice, and they will share the stage with me. Let me just open this webinar with an important statement. So you might, most of you, I expect, have read the MIT report saying that only 5% of the AI pilot programs achieve rapid revenue acceleration, whilst the vast majority stall, delivering little to no measurable impact on profits and loss. This report came out and quite shocking over the last weeks, and enterprises are now investigating internally how is that possible. So starting from this statement on the screen, I would like you to answer a very short poll. The poll is going to be on screen in a few seconds. And the question is the following. In your experience, what is the most common reason AI fails to deliver the value organization expect? So please, see some answer on the screen. And I can see that most of you have read the report. So it's not surprisingly, I'm still looking at the data, how they change on my screen. Let me end the poll. So yes, as you have answered, this is a very wide reason for AI to fail, being quality of the AI model the very least of the problem. What you are seeing on screen right now, you can see the building block of AI readiness. Technology is one of them, but not the only one. And most of the companies today are failing their AI journey because they are solely focusing on technology, solely focusing on what is the best LLM, the best technology to support my AI journey, but completely leaving out of the door the value chain of AI, the platform and data assessment, and the people experience. In reality, like you are seeing in the poll, the most critical reason for AI to fail is the unwillingness to adopt new tools. So I will stop here and I will give the ball to my fellow colleague, Dan Belostowski, who is going to speak about the AI value chain. Dan, are you with me?
Yep, I'm here. Thanks, Nicola. So hello, welcome
There you
everyone.
go.
Welcome everyone. So my name is Dan. I'm a solution architect in the CRM industry. And actually, I'm looking at the poll results. It's very interesting because it directly connects to this slide. So right now, as you probably all know, organizations are under heavy pressure to deliver value. And as Nicola mentioned, many times the discussion starts with deploying technology, adopting specific technology. There is a discussion about dedicated models. However, the key discussion that should happen is actually how do we translate real business problems into actionable AI use cases? And that's what we're going to do in the upcoming few minutes. Next slide, please. So the first thing that we will talk about is how do we measure the effectiveness of AI? And what we have today, so traditional tools, they're still used, they're still completely valid. And when we talk about the processes, we still use the traditional metrics. However, when we measure AI impact, we basically calculate that value when we consider the overall boost to productivity. And we call this AI value framework. That AI value framework have a few metrics. So things like usage. So usage would be how many times the AI solution or capability is used. We look at user acceptance. So for example, when we talk about resolution nodes generation, how many times the users have accepted that solution and actually used that solution in order to deploy that to customers. And eventually this is expressed in total hours. Our goal here is to measure productivity and do deflection. Next slide, please. So when we consider value and when we talk about various AI capabilities and use cases, we have 5 high-level steps. First one is business problem. And the key to success, especially if you are just starting, is to identify high impact, high volume, low complexity. The low complexity is really key. So many times it's very tempting to find an opportunity which is complicated that leads into complicated implementation, poor user experience. So really best practice based on what we see on the field is this combination of high impact, high volume, low complexity. And you can use different tools like process mining in order to understand those opportunities. Now, once you understand the business problem, the next part is to identify your use cases. And here it's important to make a distinction between AI-based use case and traditional workflow use case. Those are different. Not every solution is solved with the same tools. And essentially, at this point, it's already very critical to make that distinction. The next thing is to establish clear KPIs and value models. So ideally, you would have a set of specifically defined KPIs for measuring AI success, and I will show you an example of that later on. And you would apply that horizontally. So every time that you are implementing or considering a new opportunity for AI, use the same KPIs. Next, basically, we iterate and optimize. So we use real-time feedback and telemetry to refine both the AI solutions and metrics. And we have quite a lot of metric data collected in reports that you can look into. Lastly, we highly encourage you to use our pre-built framework. So we have the AI value framework, which is providing you with standard templates and benchmarks. And your account team have something called Value Composer. So Value Composer can be used in order to visualize ROI. Next slide, please. If we take that one step deeper, so when you consider your ServiceNow implementations, there would be key products. So you would have ITSM, HRSD, CSM products. One of the first things to look into is essentially the AI use case library. So this is a library of standard build use cases that meet most of the customer requirements. When you identify yourself in those use cases, plug them into the value composer that I mentioned before. So your AI team, your account team can help you with that. The next step is to align the use cases with key personas. So it's very important to stay close to the actual implementation. Here you would be talking to your agents, requesters, developers, and managers. Use the structured templates. So like we said, if we have a standard set of KPIs that is being applied horizontally, it's very important that you would use them across every scenario. Use the how many, how long, and how much formula. I'll have an example of that. In order to understand value, it also plugs into the value composer. And lastly, our standard KPIs, they're still very valid. So when you are evaluating your key processes like the ITSM, CSM, basically here you would look at the cost of serve, time to resolution, MTTR, and others. Next slide, please. Initial deployment is not done and completed. Sorry, the deployment of your AI capabilities is not done with the initial implementation. So here you would use feedback loops and telemetry to refine AI models and workflows. Through your account team, you're more than welcome to reach out to our AI Center of Excellence. So here, experts would look into your implementation, understand and find opportunities for optimization, and also talk to you about future roadmap. Tracking KPIs, I think we already said enough about that. So it's very important to stay throughout the whole life cycle. I highly encourage you to look into Now Create. So we have quite a lot of resources, templates available for anything related to managing organizational change management. And actually, when I look at the results from the poll, 21% of you said that change management is key. So we have a standard approach for it. And one of the key points is gradual implementation. So this segment adopters, where we start with champions, early adopters, and then it's rolled out to the majority, is really the way forward. Lastly, again, measuring your results, monthly active user, usage triggers, sentiment, and so on. Next slide, please. So where do we start? We start with standard capabilities. So you see here, I've selected just a few, but we have that across the whole platform. Few products that we would have here, and standard solutions such as resolution notes generation, transfer summarization. So this is essentially your chat summarization, case summarization, KB article creations, and more. On the right-hand side, the numbers represents our benchmark. So this is from our own implementation, but also looking at customer implementation. That said, it really will be dependent on your own adoption. So some would use more, for example, agentic workflows, and then the number of agentic would be increased. Some would be using less of a standard capabilities. Next slide, please. Talking about our standard capabilities, so let's make a short distinction between the two. Our standard capabilities, we refer to them as Now Assist skills, and here you would find pre-built skills, which allow you to have different configuration options, as well as custom skills that you can build through Now Assist skill kit. So common examples here would be summarizing case context, generating resolution notes, and automating knowledge-based articles. How do we measure them? Next slide, please. So in order to understand their value, we really need to measure them. And there are two good examples here. So ITSM agents save 4 to 6 minutes per use, while CSM agents save 12 to 16 minutes. That's quite a lot. And the way we actually quantify this, so how do we understand the dollar value of that? We count the average daily use from the usage log. So this is how many times the agentic tools or the standard tools are being triggered. Then we multiply that by the acceptance rate. So resolution notes proposed, how many times the agent actually accept those resolution notes. Then we multiply that by the time saved per use. And we have different metrics for that. I'll give you just one example. So for some summarization, we calculate that based on the word length, which is generated by Now Assist, and that's divided by the agent's median reading rate. So that's multiplied. And lastly, we multiply by the cost per agent to calculate the overall dollar benefit. And there are a few examples in here. I won't go into them, but when we share the slide, you can actually review those. Next slide, please. So if on one hand, we have the standard skills or pre-built skills, we also have quite a robust framework to build your agentic workflows. And here I'm giving you just one example, quite well-known one. So this is triage cases from the customer service management stream. And there is an orchestrator which actually governs a team of agents. And there are quite a few possibilities or quite a few capabilities that those agents provide. So things like understanding the intent and sentiment in order to handle the escalations and prioritize the cases, gathering context, gathering documents and validating them, and even proposing emails. So with those two together, next slide, please. How do we actually measure it? So first thing, we identify the key process. From that process, we understand who would be the main personas using our AI scenarios. And within that process, you can have one or you can have multiple use cases where agentic AI or traditional AI can be used. We measure the outcomes and we calculate the value. Next slide, please. So this is a typical process. And it's an example taken from customer service management. And you can see that there are steps which starts even before that case is being created. So for example, when normally a requester or a customer would reach out internally, then they would perform a search which is powered by Now Assist and provide the self deflection options with knowledge base. Once the case is submitted, we are running an agentic workflow, that same workflow for triaging cases that I mentioned before. So this is 15% based on our benchmarks. Then combining together the investigate and resolve stages of the case resolution, this is our traditional skills. So here you would find summarization, resolution notes generation. And after closure, we have the knowledge base article generation, also powered by GenAI. And that's essentially it's a loop. So basically the next time the customer comes in, they already reusing the same article in order to provide their own deflection. Next slide, please. So this would be my last slide. It's a heavy slide, so I would not go into details, but just to visualize everything that we've talked about. Basically, if you are using our AI value framework, and if you are using the value composer, you would get templates. And those templates provide you with a structure of how you can actually measure value. So for example, the first line talks about your current cost, how many multiplied by how long multiplied by how much. And then the second line talks about how you can actually reduce that. So I hope this part on value was valuable. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section, and I'm handing it over to Luis to talk about platform and data. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dan. So Luis Stefano here just to take about this platform and data and why they matters a lot, right? It is a key point when using AI and boarding AI capabilities. Could we go to the next slide, Nicola, just to start on this topic? So I saw you are coming from different places, so let's start with a simple question, right? Like, what time is it? It could be that if we raise this question in this webinar, we receive multiple and valid responses depending on where you are located, right? And if we are talking about a server that was down and impacting multiple customers, it could be that if we raise this question, what time is it? We get a different response. So the responses and the value AI could provide depends a bit on the context we raise these questions, all right? So in order to get helpful and value outcomes from the AI, we need to provide the right context, the business context. It is key. Is when you are the same for the humans. If we are in a conversation and we don't provide the context, it could be that we do not understand each other, right? So that's key. If we want all the value from AI to provide this business context. If we go to the next slide, we can see that this high quality contextual data is key. And in order to get that, we need a good architecture. It means it should be scalable and also flexible to onboard new capabilities, new data sources, and all the tools that are evolving so quickly right now. What we are seeing in the customers is that the reality is that we got some complex environments, right? Siloed systems, fragmented data, lack of governance, misaligned platform capabilities, and data without business context. If we go for the next slide, we can see what is the reality we find. Multiple applications, different external systems, right? It could be that you have some HR tickets on a different financial system. You have guidelines or procedures in Word documents or purchase order in Excel sheets. we need to access all this kind of information in order to provide the right context to the AI, right? It's key to provide all that, all the business context. And on top of that, we usually got, on these complex environments, we usually got also the domain separation, data segregation, custom processes, and structured data, and all that, right? So it makes it a bit more complicated. If we go to the next slide, we can see how in ServiceNow we work with a platform and one architecture that allows us to connect any data. It means we can use zero copy connectors, integration hub, and different tools to integrate different external systems, right? And on top of that, we also have some kind of tools like the knowledge graph or different frameworks like CNDB, CSDM that allows us to understand where the information is located. So we can access it in an easy way and being sure we access the right context, right? On top of that, we also can trigger actions and we have different tools to add with this all these business context to trigger not only responses but also actions. What is key in ServiceNow to provide actions, not only responses. If we go to the next slide, we can see how this architecture works. Okay, we can trigger the AI in different ways through now assist panels, different triggers, virtual agents, and we leverage the AI capabilities, agentic workflows in the last case is the most advanced one, right? But they can use also all the tools we got in our architecture. It means all you develop in the last 15 years can be used by the AI. It's like put superpowers to these AIs so they can use flow actions, flows, scripts, and all that access all the data. It could be external, internal data with a unique data model. So it's really powerful, and we are supercharging the AI agents with superpowers so they can deliver better outcomes for sure. Okay. Also, we have solutions for dedicated to each industry, each workflow, right? If we go to the next slides, we can see that the platform is scalable, flexible, in a terms that you can onboard new LLMs, you can access new data sources and all that, right? And put all available for the AI to provide more value at the end, right? Data should be accurate and complete. Is if you imagine the CNDB and the configuration items and you are missing some kind of link with the services they are underpinning, it could be the case the AI cannot get the impacted services when a configuration item is down. For example, a server is down, you cannot get, if the relationships are not there, you cannot get what are the services impacted and the customers, right? So all this context, all this business context is really key. That's the main point, right? What are the main action items we can leverage in order to improve data quality and be sure we are using all the potential AI can bring us? We can assess platform capabilities. Are we AI ready? Is the health and all our quality data enough to get value from this? We can map and clean data sources, establish governance and accountability on that, integrate all the business context from whatever place we want, and for sure start small and escalate fast. Okay. If we go for the next slide, we can see what a good solution looks like. Okay, we got a unified platform. We got governance and transparent pipelines accessing data from different places and accurate data, we mean. And with all that, we can get real-time trusted insights. If all that is aligned with the AI strategy, with the business strategy, we can get a lot of value and improve the way we are working in terms of being more productive, more effective. Okay, there are different AI maturity models that help us on this road, on this journey, right? In order to evolve how we are onboarding new AI capabilities on time and going for the final picture, okay, getting more from the AI based on all this architecture and data that is really solid. If we go for the next slide, we can see the how to do that, right? We have different tools and different actions that could help us to go to this image. AI readiness evaluation. We can leverage some kind of automated assessment in order to save time, speed up deployment, improve accuracy, check the health on the quality we got on our platform, and yeah, put the focus wherever it is needed in order to improve all that and get more value, right? It can save a lot of time. If we go for the next slide, we can also check on what are the smart choices. This is a decision tree. The purpose is not just to check on detail on that. You can yeah, check on that on your own, but it's not the purpose. The purpose is that there are different decision trees that allows us to um, select, take a decision on what is the best solution for each of the scenarios, right? It's not like leveraging technology, AI, latest capabilities, but to decide on what is the best solution. It could be it is a traditional workflow is doing a good job, or you need generative AI capabilities or agentic workflow at the end, right? And it could depend on the scenario, on what is the requirement, and also on the data we have to manage there, right? So there are different decision trees that help us on our journey to check what is the best solutions there. It's also important that the AI is going to be a commodity. It will lower the cost and improve performance. But nowadays, we have to check what is the best possible solution and try to save resources and provide the best solution possible, right? So decision trees can work on that way. If we go for the next slide, Nicola, we can see also an important tool or way of working. We can say when you leverage the AI capabilities, you are putting them available for your users. It could be employees or customers, right? And they can trigger actions based on the AI capabilities and get some outcomes from there, right? When they get these outcomes and they provide feedback, we can get all that output feedback and improve the current processes, right? It means not only improving the knowledge base in order to provide better results, but all the AI capabilities could be improved based on this feedback, on these outputs, right? And you put that available again for the user. So it's a virtuous loop, infinite loop, in which you are continually improving the solutions. If we go for the next slide, we are going to highlight what we want from this section is that AI without architecture and data is just algorithms, it's just code. But with them is transformation. It's really key to provide the business context to the AI to get the most value from that. And that's the most important thing from this section we want to remark, highlight here. And now it's time for Gags to continue with the people section. So
Yeah, thank you, Luis. Before giving the ball to Gags, there are some couple of questions in the chat that I would like to answer. Is that okay with you, Gags?
Sure.
So yes, the webinar will be recorded, and slides will be made available afterwards. Paul Chandra asked if the calculator for the value calculator that Dan showed for CRM workflow is applicable to ITSM as well. So yes, actually I will read Dan's answer. Yes, various processes follow a similar pattern. We have templates to calculate ITSM process and AI use case library example that can be used out of the box. Also, there is another question. Where can we find the AI Value Composer? Reach out to your account team or your partner managers. If you are a partner, they should be able to provide you with the Value Composer. Fair enough. I'm good to go. Gags? Gags is going to speak about the most important pillar of AI readiness, which is people. Over to you, Gags.
Thank you, Nicola. It's great to be with you all today. Thank you for joining. Great content so far today. Okay, AI adoption. It's often framed as a technology challenge, and I'm here to tell you a real driver of success is people. And that's why I'll be talking about people and AI driving empowerment and adoption. Next slide, please, Nicola. Okay, so people will be at the center of your AI adoption in ServiceNow. I know we had a poll, and I feel like it was it did link to the highest rated answer. But can I get ask you to share a reaction if this is something you have already acknowledged? Can we get some thumbs up or some hearts if we agree that people are going to be at the center of your AI adoption? There you go, there's one. Oh, there's a lot. Lovely, look at them coming in. Great, brilliant. Some of you are already ahead of the curve. That's brilliant. Okay, and maybe for those that haven't reacted, maybe by the end of this, by the end of my presentation and points, maybe you'll give me a thumbs up. Okay, brilliant. So technology can be bought, built, or configured, but what actually is going to determine adoption is whether people they trust it, accept it, and adapt their behaviors to use it daily, right? And that's why they sit at the center. So the perspective I bring to you is that AI adoption isn't a technology challenge, it's a people challenge. Next slide, please, Nicola. Okay, perfect. So adoption is the desired outcome in that we want people to, or employees to actually use AI in practice and not just have it deployed and sitting there in your ServiceNow instance, right, or your platform. But with people being a core variable, they can bring people-related challenges with AI, causing adoption to stall, right? Some of the examples I put on are, unclear roles with AI, a lack of trust in AI, resistance to change, insufficient upskilling, and ethical and governance concerns, right? Next slide, please, Nicola.
Sorry.
So it's important to consider that AI adoption is different. So where you have traditional change, for example, in IT, maybe introducing new tools and processes or systems, AI-driven changes are really about reshaping roles, trust, decision-making, and even ethical considerations, right? And the core message here is that AI requires a human-first approach. And that means designing and using AI to empower and support people, helping them make better decisions, work more efficiently, staying in control, rather than trying to replace them with AI or setting the impression that they are going to be replaced with AI. Next slide, please, Nicola. So what you are seeing here is the technology acceptance model. Some of you may have heard of this before, but it shows how employees or users come to accept and use new technology, such as AI in ServiceNow, right? If we start at the bottom, perceived ease of use, the easier something is to use, the likeliness of using it increases. A good example is the iPhone. It's easy to set up, it's easy to use, embraced by all age groups, and we know how many people adopted and used the iPhone in the world, right? We move up to perceived usefulness. So this is also one of the first things people want to know, right? Will this AI in ServiceNow work for me? Will it change the job I applied for, or what's in it for me, right? So if people, employees, perceive AI in ServiceNow as easy to use and useful, they are more likely to intend to use it, which leads to a positive attitude towards using it and increases the likelihood of adoption. But it was pretty cool to show this model here and how it really can relate to AI in ServiceNow. Next slide, please, Nicola. So how do we actually bring about this kind of change and adoption? Well, change management can be that structured discipline that you apply to guide people through these challenges. And in my experiences with customers from implementations, many of these challenges align well to aspects of Kotter's change model, which you're seeing in front of you now, which is a proven backbone for driving transformation. But in this case, adapted actually to unique opportunities of AI, right? What AI brings unique compared to traditional change. So let's walk through it high level. Next slide, please, Nicola. So the first part essentially is to create urgency and vision, right? We want to develop a clear, compelling vision of what success looks like after the change. What it's going to look like after AI has been successfully adopted in ServiceNow and the benefits it may bring. You want to make that vision quite specific and achievable. So the next is building excitement around human and AI teaming in ServiceNow. Emphasize the empowerment that AI in ServiceNow can bring your employees and communicate how it will make them better. So my colleagues touched upon it previously, right? About the resolution notes generation and case summarization. If you're summarizing a case and you need to hand, for example, this case off to a new agent, instead of reading all of that context in the case, click the summarize button, get up to speed quicker. That might influence and improve the SLA times and so on and so on. We also want to show risks of inaction, right? Falling behind competitors. So AI is no longer a future technology, but a present one. So the time to adopt it is now. Next slide, please, Nicola. So then the second part is we need to enable action and momentum, right? We need to entrust leaders to really champion and embed that AI vision. And that AI change leadership must start at the very top, at the C-suite. And that responsibility should also be cascaded down to leaders across the organization to really champion adoption. But really, it needs to be in every corner. You need to equip employees with the skills to confidently use AI in ServiceNow, so all the analysis skills and working with the agentic workflows or AI agents. It will take 21 days for a habit to stick. So when it comes to actually upskilling people or employees, it will not work with a compact 4-hour half-day training session. So you need to think of a training strategy that's really going to relate and help your employees learn how to use and work with AI inside ServiceNow. But one of the most important things that I found from my experience is demonstrating quick wins. If you can demonstrate usefulness and ease of use and build momentum, you're going to get more of a buy-in. And we can also link that back to the technology acceptance model I spoke about a moment ago. Next slide, please, Nicola. And the last part to the model is to embed and sustain change. So you want to measure adoption, not just deployment, to ensure lasting change, right? Validate whether new behaviors are actually being embraced. Highlight any issues or gaps or blockers very early on, right? AI is an iterative journey, right? It's not one and done. It's going to be continuous to evolve and there will be iterations of it. So learn from it and apply those lessons learned going forward. Right, and finally, to drive adoption and sustain long-term change, continue to reinforce the trust and transparency in AI decision-making, right? Support the fact that AI can deliver value and deliver empowerment and help the people. Next slide, please. And just to bring everything together that I've spoken about, you just go to the next bit. So AI succeeds with people. People succeed with AI, and then together they accelerate change. Okay. Now, I know I asked at the start, and to be honest, I was quite surprised with how many reactions I got. But can I ask you again to share a reaction on whether my points have made you think a little bit more deeply about people being at the center of AI adoption? That would be great. Okay, some love hearts. We didn't get any love hearts last time, so and some celebrations. Excellent. All right. You're all good people. Thank you. Okay, back to you,
Thank you
Nicola.
very
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Gags. Very good stuff. So we have now time for questions. There are already questions in the chat that have already been answered, but I also want to make them available to everyone. So bottom line, AI is only as good as the people who work with it, the data it consumes, and the business problem it aims to solve. So in the end, we have gone through all these 4 pillars of a successful AI journey and a successful checklist of building blocks for your enterprise to be AI ready. So your sweet spot is here, is in the intersection between data, value, and people. That's where you are, or actually that's where you should be. So the next steps for you would be prioritize organizational change management by focusing on people and adoption, prioritizing platform and data health, and value creation. Let me ask a question. What will be your next step to ensure your enterprise AI ready? Before wrapping this up, thank you. And please don't forget to fill the surveys that will pop up on your screen right at the end of this webinar when you close it, okay? Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much to my fellow colleagues, Luis, Dan, and Gax. I wish you a good rest of the day. Take care.